let me gather my thoughts real quick because I'm about to act all the way out. If you're new here, I'm your girl Christine. Welcome to my channel. If you're not new here, I see you coming back. For today's video, you see I'm standing up, which means I'm about to get hype. You might not know this, but I'm standing up. I know I'm small, but I mean I'm standing. Today's video is going to be my first story time. Let me tell you about the time that I got into it with the flight attendant over breastfeeding. So I figured since my last video we talked about breastfeeding, I'd let you guys know that my journey went really well with Camila the second time than it did with Liliana the first time, and it was just overall a good experience, which then got me thinking and remembering the time that, oh yeah, I had to get in this flight attendant's face because she tried to come for me. Y'all already know I'm spicy or whatever, and you're not gonna talk to me any certain way. I don't know who you think you are, but I'm not the one, boo-boo. It ain't me. So I'm going to let y'all in on what happened. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. There's a lot of content on my channel. We're trying to find our niche, so for now we're just kind of letting it all out there. If y'all want to see me get hyped, if you want to hear some tea, if y'all want to know the juice, then stay tuned. Let's jump into it. As you guys know, every year, well, some of you might not know this, some of you may be your first time here, so let me just rewind a minute. Every year for the past, what, how old's Lil? 3? It's gonna be 4. So every year for the past 4 years, Horace and I have gone on vacation. So we go on vacation and it's always out of the country. We do that every year because at Ashley's, where Horace works, he is a furniture salesman. And there they have a program where if you sell $1 million worth of furniture within the year, then they pay for you and a partner, a spouse, a friend, you and a +1 to go on vacation. Everything's paid for, flights, rooms, excursions, everything's paid for. Food, everything's paid for. So every year since Horace has been working there, he has sold his $1 million and they sent him on a trip, and it's called the President's Club trip. So this last time that we went on a trip, we went to Jamaica. Some of you know, yeah man. So we went to Jamaica. It was beautiful. I have to say, out of all the trips that we've taken, this was by far my favorite. It was beautiful. Everything about it I absolutely loved. We had a wonderful experience. So when I was breastfeeding Liliana, we did make a trip to Canada. We went to Canada and I was, you know, still trying to figure out how to travel and still breastfeed and do all those things without having baby with me. So when you're doing that internationally, there are a bunch of different rules about what you can and can't do with breast milk, what you can and can't bring with you. You have to make sure everything's frozen, all that kind of stuff. So I already knew going into it as a breastfeeding mom, it was just probably I was going to have to explain myself to somebody or say something to somebody. I had known all this. I made myself aware of everything I needed to know and what I needed to tell them and explain to them. I had, you know, a doctor's note saying that this is breast milk for my baby. So I thought I was prepared for everything. Except for a rude ass flight attendant apparently. On the way to Jamaica, everything went great. Everything was smooth. I had everything I needed, and usually when you're a breastfeeding mom, as far as my experience go, usually everybody is super accommodating. So when we got to Jamaica, something had happened with our room, I don't know, but our room was taking a while to be ready. So I did approach the woman who was in charge of getting our rooms together, and I just told her like, hey, it's time for me to pump, like I'm really full, I'm super uncomfortable, I've been traveling all day. Is there a room I can go into, or do you know when my room will be ready? Absolutely. She's a mom too. She was a breastfeeding mom, so she hurried up and got my room, and I'm so thankful for that. And along my trip in Jamaica, I had just found that everybody was really accommodating whenever I needed them to be. And as a breastfeeding mom, it's kind of, I mean, you don't want to explain to everybody that you're uncomfortable, that you literally feel like your chest is about to explode. I mean, it can just be a lot, especially traveling. Everything going to Jamaica was great. Everything was fine. But it's time to leave Jamaica. So we're already leaving this beautiful island that I've fallen in love with. We've had the best trip that we've taken. It was amazing. Horace and I are in great moods. So just to preface everything, Horace and I travel with his coworkers. So we all travel as one big group. We're all on the same flights and we all travel together. Everybody's together the entire time. So everybody is aware that I'm a breastfeeding mom by this point. So we have 2 flights to get us home after leaving Jamaica. Our first flight is taking a while. Things are not going according to plan. So the amount of time that we have have between the flight that we're gonna get off of and the flight we have to catch, there's not a lot of time. That's another thing that I try to look into before I travel, especially breastfeeding. I know that I'll have, 30 minutes to try to go and pump real quick while, my flight isn't ready, or I can grab some food. This and all this stuff is important. I know all this before I go into it. But because something had happened with our flight was behind schedule. We had got onto the bus probably like at 10 a.m., 10, 11 a.m., I don't really remember. I had pumped before we got on the bus. And then I knew I was going to have time to pump once our flight landed because we had like an hour and a half between flights. So I knew I was going to be able to do that. Well, our flight got delayed, and come to find out, I didn't have enough time to pump. We barely had enough time to grab food. By this time, I consciously remember it being 7 hours since I had pumped, which means if we left at 11, it was now 6 in the afternoon. And if you're a breastfeeding mom who breastfeeds every 3 hours, you know how important it is to try to pump at those hours, not only for your milk supply, but also it's very uncomfortable. Like, it hurts. I can't even explain it to you if you don't know what it feels like. It's just like you're full, like you could literally explode at any point in time. So we get on our second flight, and I talk to the flight attendant in the front, and I explained to her, I'm so sorry, but it's been hours since I've gotten to pump and I'm really uncomfortable. I don't know who I can talk to about, going somewhere or having a row to myself to where I can pump privately. It won't take long. It'll take 20 minutes tops. And she said, okay. She said, absolutely. She said, unfortunately, I'm not the flight attendant on this flight. My replacement is actually running late, which is important. Remember this. Her replacement is running late. She's not servicing the flight, but she will let somebody know that this is what I need. So okay, I go and I sit down and I wait. We sit down, we find our seats and everything, and I notice that we are in the second to the last row. So Horace and I are not sitting together because that's just how our flights had been happening this entire trip, so we knew that was gonna happen. So I'm sitting in an aisle, Horace is sitting in an aisle next to me, and then next to both of us on either sides are his co-workers and their wives. So next to me is a man and his wife, next to Horace is a man and his wife. So the wives are by the windows, it's just me and men, basically. In front of me is more co-workers, men and their wives. All the men are in the aisle, so I'm literally surrounded by men. If I was around women, absolutely, I would pull out my pump and I would pump because that's what I needed to do, and I know women understand that. But I'm not going to sit here and pump around, one, a bunch of men, two, my fiance's co-workers. Like, no, absolutely not. So I noticed that the seats behind us, so we're in this row and the seats behind us, both of them are empty. I was like, okay, I'm making mental note that this seat behind me is empty. Once everybody gets settled and situated, I will just go back there and pump really quick. Mind you, 20 minutes tops. Well, that's not what happens. One of Horace's coworkers and his wife also had separate seats on the plane. But unlike me and Horace, they weren't next to each other still. They were like scattered on the plane. So they went and sat behind Horace in the empty row in the back. Still, I was fine with that. I would just plan to face the window and do what I needed to do and get it over with. But the flight attendant came on board, the one that was running late. She was a woman. She came on board, she got everything together and situated. The plane had taken off. We were at the point to where they're about to go and do their thing, but I didn't know that yet. I just knew that the plane had taken off, so that was my cue that I've been sitting here uncomfortable waiting for this plane to load and waiting for everybody to get in their seat, and now I can finally go in the empty row behind me and pump. So I grab my things, I get up, I turn around to leave my row, and she says,
no, sit down.
And I was like, did this bitch just really just talk to me like that? No, I just need to pump really quick. It'll take me 20 minutes tops. I haven't pumped in like 7 hours. I'm just really uncomfortable and I need to pump. She said, no. She said, I'm sorry. You can pump in your seat or you can pump in the bathroom. She said, I already let them sit here, referring to Horace's coworker and his wife. I already let them sit here and I needed these seats clear. So then I sit down because I'm just not the type of person, like let me gather my thoughts real quick because I'm about to act all the way out, and let me just gather my thoughts real quick to make sure I'm not in the wrong and know what I want to say when I do approach this lady, because she will be approached. So she continues and carries on to show her little demonstration of, exits and seat belts and oxygen or whatever, and I'm just sitting there and I'm in my thoughts and I'm like, this bitch really just talked to me like she was my mama. Like she really just checked the shit out of me. Like, I was angry. I was sitting there in my thoughts. I was angry. I'm crying because y'all know I'm emotional and I'm angry. And Horace is like, what's the matter? Like, what happened? And so I told him, and he's like, he's pissed because obviously he knows I'm uncomfortable. He's been by my side since day one on both of these journeys, and he knows how important it is to me to get this milk out. I'm just angry. And so first of all, she didn't even look at my surroundings. She didn't even take 2 seconds to realize I'm a woman, I'm a mom surrounded by men, so no, I'm not going to pump in my chair. 2, she told me I could go pump in the bathroom. Like, excuse me? This is at the time 2019. Like, I can pump wherever the fuck I feel like pumping. No, I don't want to pump in my seat because I'm surrounded by men, but you cannot tell me you can pump in the bathroom. I thought we as a society knew it was not okay to tell moms to go to the bathroom to feed their baby or pump. And let me tell y'all, oh no, this was this year, this was 2020, because coronavirus was already happening. It just wasn't as huge. People were still flying. It was the very early stages of coronavirus. So you want me to go and pump the food that I'm going to feed my baby out of my body in a restroom when there is a global pandemic happening? Like, you want me to go to the bathroom? So all of these things are going on in my brain, and I'm just, I'm pissed. I'm so pissed. So I let her go through her little speech, do what she had to do, you know what I mean? And then she comes back to the back. I get up angry because I'm going to the bathroom to go pump. Not because she told me to, but because I was surrounded by men and was not going to just pump in front of all of these men who have wives and work with my husband. I'm not going to do that. So I gather my things to go to the bathroom. And on my way to the bathroom, I see her and I tell her, I say, I just want to let you know that the way that you spoke to me was really uncalled for. You didn't have to be disrespectful, first of all. Second of all, I hope and pray that if ever you are a mother, a breastfeeding mother, who is in need of some compassion and understanding, accommodation from another woman, that as a woman, you get that. And you're not treated the way you just treated me. And so she says, I didn't treat you any kind of way. I wasn't being disrespectful. First of all, I'm telling you how you made me feel. How are you going to tell me you didn't make me feel this way when I'm telling you that's how you made me feel? Regardless your intention, regardless what you meant for it to be, this is how you made me feel. So you're not addressing how you made me feel, first of all. Second of all, I already knew she wasn't a mom, which is exactly why I said what I said, because another mother would never. They would never. And so she says, and my best friend just had my nephew and she's breastfeeding. I support breastfeeding moms. I'm all for anything that you need and, you know, support for you having options, which is why I told you you could pump in your chair. I support women and I do this and that. And I'm thinking to myself, and I told her, no, regardless, that's how I knew you weren't a mom, because you don't understand. You can sit here and tell me all day long that you know, support your best friend, but until you're supporting women as a whole, you don't support the whole breastfeeding journey. And luckily for me, I'm comfortable enough in my journey to know that this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to do, regardless of people like you who put me in these situations that make me uncomfortable. Because if I was a first-time breastfeeding mom, this was the time that I was breastfeeding Liliana, those days were so hard for me. And for you to sit there and act the way that you acted because I need to pump for my child, like, that's ridiculous. So thank goodness I'm secure in my journey, and you encountered somebody like me who is secure in their journey, and you cannot deter me from breastfeeding my child or doing what I need to do in order to feed my child the way I see fit. Because if it was another mother, a first-time breastfeeding, you don't know what your actions, what your words, what kind of effect that would have had on them mentally and physically. They're already in pain because they're breastfeeding. They're already, you know, away from their baby. Ugh, it just made me mad because I knew she wasn't a mom. I knew she didn't understand. So after she told me that, I said my piece to her. By that time, Horace had seen that I was worked up, because you guys know when I'm confronted with confrontation, I cry. So I was crying, but I was still pissed. And Horace was up at this point, and he was like, what do you need? What do you need me to do? And I said nothing. Oh, and then she tried to tell me, that she was late and they were about to start their demonstration. And I told her, like that would have made the difference. Okay, I understand you were late, That doesn't have anything to do with me. I was on time for my flight. I understand you were late, but I was understanding to the fact that you were running late and you had a presentation to go and present. Okay, you as a woman, as a grown-ass human, could have communicated to me that, I'm so sorry, I gotta go take care of this real quick. I will, you know, we'll have a conversation in a minute. Because then maybe you wouldn't have been in such a rush. And then maybe you could have been respectful and kind and, you know, understanding of the situation that I was in. But you didn't even do that. You immediately dismissed me. You immediately dismissed my needs and what I was kindly asking of you to accommodate what a couple who had already decided to sit where they were sitting, and then they felt bad because of the whole situation happened, and they felt like, well, if they wouldn't have sat there, it would have went different. But honestly, who knows that it would have. Regardless, it was going to take me 20 minutes to pump. 20 minutes. She would have been inconvenienced with the one row being taken up. So I was just baffled that she was actually supporting everything that just happened. So I told her, I don't have nothing else to say to you. I just want to let you know that you were rude and it was uncalled for, and I hope that you, whenever you experience motherhood, if ever, you are dealt some kindness and understanding. And I shut the bathroom door. Bitch. Oh, I was so mad. I was so angry. You have no idea. So I finished pumping. I do what I have to do. After that, you don't understand the relief off my body. I'm glad because I said what at my piece. I'm glad because I no longer have milk building up inside my body. It was all relief. So then I go and I sit back down, and she carries on to tend to her flight. And I get off the flight and I leave. And that's all that happened. People have asked me, well, did you talk to her superior? Did you speak to, you know, who you needed to speak to? And that's what Horace was asking me, like, who do I need to talk to? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, let me know and I'll handle it. He's very much that type of person, which is why I love him. He's always ready to run to my aid because he knows I'm a feisty little thing, and anything I throw him, get him mixed up in, he's always ready to solve for me. But yeah, that till this day, that story just irks my soul. And like, you're a woman. I don't understand. So moral of the story, women, men, be kind to other humans. Women, we need to support each other. We need to communicate with each other better. We need to have each other's backs and understand when we're put in situations like this, because some things like this men just can't understand. Some things like this, clearly people who aren't mothers just can't understand. So yeah, that was my story time. That's what happened the time that I got into it with the flight attendant over breastfeeding. So yeah, that's what happened. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you so much for, you know, listening and probably laughing because I'm so emotional and passionate when I'm angry. This is just behind the camera. You don't want to see me in person. You don't want none of this smoke. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. The bell notification next to that, if you hit it, it lets you know when I upload a new video so you can be the first to view it when it goes live. If you don't hit it or you just simply don't know how to work it, don't worry. I will always let you know when my videos go live on my socials. These are my socials. This is where you can find me on the internet, and by the time you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure I'm married. We had a wedding. We had a wedding. We had a wedding. So I'm probably somewhere cuddled up with my boo, enjoying our time as newlyweds. I hope you guys are still enjoying my videos, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Excuse me. I'm telling you that like you're here. So now I'm all hyped for what? What am I gonna do now? Nothing, go sit down.